Hello everyone, welcome to course study on solid mechanics. In today's lecture, we are going to start a new unit, that is unit number 5, principal stresses and strain. Before going for actual part of unit number 5, we will discuss the introductory part of it. So, remember that in unit number 1, we have discussed the concept of stresses and strain. In case of stress, we have come across the concept of normal stress and the shear stress. Okay, so stress is nothing but it's an internal resisting force developed per unit area. This is the simple definition of the stress which we have discussed in unit number 1. It's an internal resisting force developed per unit area and it is denoted by the letter sigma. Now, what does the normal stress means? If the direction of the stress is at right angle or normal to the area on which it is developed, then it is called as a normal stress. So the name itself indicates what is normal stress. It makes an angle of 90 degree with the cross-sectional area of the member. Therefore, the name is normal stress. Normal stress, it may be tensile in nature or compressive in nature. Okay, and mathematically it is given by sigma is equal to P by A, this formula. Okay, where P is the external force and A is the cross-sectional area of the member. Okay, if you observe this figure carefully, this particular force P, it make an angle of 90 degree with the cross-sectional area of the bar. Therefore, the name is normal stress and mathematically it can be given by force upon area, cross-sectional area. Okay, this is the concept of normal stress. In unit number 1, we have also come across the concept of shear stress. Shear stress, it is also known as tangential stress or the parallel stress. If the direction of the stress is parallel to the area over which it is developed, then it is called as a shear stress. Okay, so it always acts tangential or parallel to the area. Mathematically, it is given by force upon area. Just like a normal stress, shear stress is also given by force upon area. And both has the same unit, that is Newton per meter square or Newton per mm square. Is it okay? Now, in actual practice, the bar may subjected to the several kind of the loading. Okay, and therefore it will be required to determine the state of the stress under those conditions. Okay, so what in normal stress, the load is that particular stress makes an angle of 90 degree. Okay, shear stress always acts parallel or tangential to the area, but in actual practice that particular member it may subjected to the several kind of the loading, and for such a condition we have to determine the value of normal stress and the shear stress. For example, this figure. In this figure, a bar is subjected to the external force P. It is tensile in nature. Okay, and that particular bar has been cut by a oblique plane. This is the oblique plane, red color line. Okay, due to that oblique plane, there will be the two part of the bar, the left hand part and the right hand part. Okay, so this particular oblique plane, this is the oblique plane, orange color, this orange color it shows, this orange color it shows the oblique plane. Okay, this oblique plane it make an angle of 90 degree with the vertical side of the bar. So this angle is not 90 degree, it make an angle of theta with the vertical side of the bar, not 90 degree, it make an angle of theta. Okay, again in this case also it make an angle of theta. So for such a condition we have to find out the value of normal stress and the shear stress. Okay, if you observe this figure carefully, this particular force P, it is inclined to the oblique plane. It is inclined to the oblique plane, whereas in case of normal stress it make an angle of 90 degree directly. Okay, but in case of oblique plane it make an inclined angle with the plane. So it is required to resolve it into two components. The one which is perpendicular to the plane and the other which is tangential to the oblique plane. The component which is perpendicular to the oblique plane is denoted by the letter sigma n and is known as normal stress because it make an angle of 90 degree with the oblique plane. Okay, so how to calculate the value of normal stress for oblique plane? Same formula we are going to use, force upon area, but which area we have to consider? The area of this oblique plane, that area we have to consider. But remember that it is in term of theta because it makes an angle of theta with the vertical side of the member. That we are going to discuss in coming video also. Okay, so in this manner we have found out the value of normal stress for the oblique plane. In the same manner we are going to find out the value of shear stress also. This is the shear stress which acts tangential or parallel to the oblique plane, and the formula is force upon area. Again, area is the area of oblique plane. Remember that in this particular case we have denoted shear stress by the letter tau, but in the entire unit we are going to denote it by the letter sigma t. Normal stress by the letter sigma n and the shear stress will be the letter sigma t for the oblique plane. Okay, this is all about the concept of normal stress, shear stress and normal stress and shear stress onto the oblique plane. So we have considered normal stress and shear stress which makes an angle of 90 degree. Okay, we have also considered normal stress and shear stress for the oblique plane. Okay, now we will move to the next part of our unit number 5, that is the concept of principal plane and stresses. It's very important one from the government examination point of view. What does the principal plane mean? What does the principal stresses means? Okay, so the first one is principal plane. What does it mean? In any strained material there are three mutually perpendicular planes which carry only direct stresses. It may be tensile in nature or compressive in nature, but it does not carry any shear stress. This is the definition of principal plane. In a strained material means which is subjected to external load, so it is under the state of strain. Okay, it has three mutually perpendicular plane. Three mutually perpendicular plane means a three-dimensional one. Okay, which carries only direct stresses. It may be tensile in nature or compressive in nature, but it does not carry the shear stress. Okay, so from this figure we will concentrate on this figure A, B, C, D. It's a two-dimensional one. Okay, it is subjected to sigma x along x direction, sigma y and sigma y along y direction. Okay, now this stress, it is acting normally or perpendicularly to the plane BC, CD, DA and AB. So it makes an angle of 90 degree with the plane. Okay, so as per the definition, the plane which carry only direct stresses, no shear stresses, will be called as a principal plane. So from this figure, the plane AB, BC, CD and AD carries only normal stress and no shear stress. There will be called as a principal plane. Okay, it is subjected to only direct stress, normal stress. No shear stress will be acting on that particular plane, therefore will be called as a principal plane. Very important one. Okay, now we will discuss the principal stresses. The magnitude of the direct stresses acting on a principal plane will be termed as a principal stresses. Okay, now if we consider the magnitude of normal stress which is acting over the principal plane, then it is known as principal stresses. The magnitude of normal stress or direct stress is nothing but it's a principal stress. Okay, and which is acting over the principal plane, therefore will be termed as a principal stresses. Okay, suppose that sigma x has some magnitude, sigma y has some magnitude, then it will be called as a principal stresses. Okay, now we will discuss another point. The maximum value of direct stress on a principal plane is a major principal stress, and the plane is called as a major principal plane. So the maximum value of direct stress which is acting over the principal plane is called as a major principal stress, and the plane which carries the major principal stress is called as a major principal plane. Okay, this is the major principal stress. The maximum value of direct stress will be called as a major principal stress. In the same manner, the minimum value of direct stress on a principal plane is a minor principal stress. The minimum value of direct stress on a principal plane is a minor principal stress, and the plane which carries the minimum value of direct stress, that plane is called as a minor principal plane. So remember, it's very important concept for the unit number 5. Okay, now we will move to the sign convention which has to be followed for the unit number 5. So in the entire unit, whatever the sign convention I have followed, that I am going to discuss. Okay, so remember that the normal tensile stress is considered as a positive. Okay, this sigma x, sigma y, those are tensile in nature. Those stresses are tensile in nature, therefore will be considered as a positive one. Okay, now the normal compressive stress will be considered as a negative. Suppose instead of along this direction, it is acting along this direction, so it is normal compressive stress, so it will be considered as a negative one. Okay, so that sign convention I have followed in the entire unit number 5. Next sign convention is positive shear stress. Very important concept. The sign convention for the shear stress is very difficult to understand, so you concentrate on this particular part. Positive shear stress. Okay, it acts on positive face of the element in the negative direction of an axis. Similarly, on negative face of an element, it acts in the positive direction. So what does it mean? Okay, this is x direction, you concentrate over here. This is x direction, this is y direction. This is positive x, this is positive y. If I go along this side, then this will be the negative x. If I go along this side, then it will be the negative y. So you have to consider this one. Okay, if I consider the face along this direction, then it will be the positive face. If I consider the face along this direction, negative x direction, so it will be the negative face. If I consider face along this direction, it will be positive, and along this direction it will be negative face. So in this manner you have to consider positive face and negative face along x and y direction. So this is positive x and this is positive y. Okay, so if you concentrate on this particular figure, we have this face, this AB face as a positive one because it is along positive x direction. If I concentrate on face CD, then it will be the negative face. Okay, along x direction, for the x direction. Okay, if I consider this face, actually it is AD, then it will be the positive face, and if I consider this face, then it will be the negative face. Okay, so whatever the sign convention we have followed for the shear stress, that we are going to discuss. Okay, it acts on positive face of the element, that is, this is the positive face along x direction, and for y direction this is the positive face. Okay, on the it acts on the positive face of the element in the negative direction of an axis. Okay, this is the positive phase, but it acts along the negative direction. It is acting along negative y direction. This shear stress, it is acting along negative x direction. So such a type will be considered as a positive shear stress. You can consider your shear stress as per your convenience. Sign convention you can consider as per your convenience, but in the entire unit number 5 I have considered positive shear stress in this manner. Okay, what is negative shear stress? In case of negative shear stress, it acts on a positive phase of the element in the positive direction. Positive phase and positive direction. Suppose this is the positive phase, okay, and if it acts on to the positive direction, that is along this direction, then it will be considered as a negative shear stress. Okay, positive direction and positive phase will be the negative shear stress. Positive direction and negative phase will be the positive shear stress. Okay, so this is all about the sign convention which we have followed in unit number 5. So in the next lecture we will discuss the concept of normal and shear stress on an oblique plane. So as discussed earlier, we are going to find out the value of normal stress and the shear stress on an oblique plane. Okay, so we will stop here. Thank you.